In his second fight he gave up. He was called the Mutt. But he returned, won 4 fights, is considered one of the greatest fighting dog breeders. Today you will hear the Rascal Champion story.
Rascal came from Maurice Carver, aged 15 months. He was a beautiful dog, and with a lot of skill. He weighed about 20 kilograms conditioned. Rascal was tagged for fighting for the first time, in the fall of 1974. About 15 days before the fight, I was informed that the opponent had been injured and the fight was cancelled. The following week, the fight would be with Woods Snooty, but he also failed. Me and my friends were going home, when my friends started arguing in the car. One said Rascal was better at fighting, the other said Snooty was better. I stopped at my house, we started talking, and drinking brandy. When it was 1 in the morning there was a bet. Which dog was better? Snooty or Rascal? The dogs were released and the battle began. From the beginning he was clearer than Rascal, he was better in the fight. Snooty started crying at the 15-minute mark. At the 25-minute mark, he started trying to jump out of the ring. Snooty handler wasn't taking defeat. Snooty wasn't reacting anymore, but he still wouldn't admit defeat. Finally, in 1 hour and 57 minutes, a scratch was made. And Snooty couldn't fight anymore. And Rascal became once winner. Snooty's handler dropped the dog on the ground and walked away. My wife nursed Snooty until he got better. After a month the owner of Snooty came to get him. Rascal lost his second fight, against Samson at the 2-hour mark. At scratch he didn't come back into the fight, but he did stand up waiting for the judge's count. The owner of Rascal was sad thinking that Rascal had not won due to the way he had behaved that day. For that reason people said that Rascal was a mutt. More owner of him, he loved Rascal and thought differently. Rascal returned to fight and won 4 fights. 2 of these fights were against dogs of 2 men, who said that Rascal was a mutt. The fights lasted more than 2 hours. This shows that the exceptions to all rules. What if it wasn't used as a breeder? Rascal produced over 15 champions. His son Rascal Jr. also produced champions, like Champion Homer, from Mountain Man. This bloodline had several champion dogs, and fights over 3 hours recorded. Needless to say, if we hadn't crossed the Rascal, it would have been a great loss for the fighting dogs. The main thing you can learn from this is that they are not machines. It's easy to call someone else's dog a mutt, but everyone will give up eventually, it just depends on how much you put into them. Common sense must be applied in the selection of these dogs. In a litter there can be dogs of gameness and also the undesirable ones. I prefer to use that term instead of mutt. In the 1800s some fighting dogs were brought over from England and Ireland. Today the dogs are all of their genealogy. I believe the only difference between dogs is the way the breeders use them. If they are used to pull weight or conformation, they lose gameness and become a mutt. There are few men who have bred quality dogs in the last 100 years. Most people breeding today know how to read pedigree, know all dogs in genealogy. But he doesn't know how to handle the dog. There are some breeders who will produce good dogs, with their own breeding. I believe it is a natural ability. You can't learn this, it's something few men have and are born with. They know how to choose and get the best out of the dog. I have a friend in Louisiana who has that skill. Believe me, it scares me the way he can interpret and see things in a dog. The main reason for everything I've reported here is so everyone can give their dog a fair chance. Don't make stupid mistakes like being too lazy to condition your dog physically and psychologically. Don't use your dog to boost your ego or show off. Some examples of this are: 1. The dehydrated animal. 2. The underweight animal. 3. The animal struggling in the wrong weight class. 4. The animal worked hard or worked little. 5. The full animal. 6. The fat animal. 7. Drugs, vitamins, steroids, food additives, etc. 8. The animal without a minimum rest of 1 week. Will some say more that this has to do with the history of Rascal? I say everything. If these 8 steps were not applied, you would never have heard the name, Champion Rascal.
That was the story of the Rascal Champion. The history of the Mayday Grand Champion will appear. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. God bless you all. I went.